Okay, so the first thing that you guys need to do is open up the virtual mining lab document. All right, so most of you guys, when you get this assignment, it's going to give your name, but if you guys will go ahead and type your name in the open spot. All right, so the purpose of this activity is to simulate a mining operation. In order to make the simulation economically valid, many of the costs associated with real mining operations will be considered. Several of the economic considerations in the simulation follow. So, you guys are going to purchase land area today, okay? And then what will happen is there's going to be different lots that you guys are going to pick. The mining equipment is ultimately going to be how quickly you can use your keypad, okay, or your mouse pad to click things. Okay, so some of you guys might have mouse control. Some of you guys might have, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly kids click today. At the conclusion of mining operations, the reclamation of the land area is required with a fine for any of the land that you do not, or if you're not able to reclaim. And I'm going to go over those stipulations here in a second. So while the goal of the simulation is entirely economic, that is to make as much money as possible, there are many goals other than economic goals that must be considered in a real mining operation. Although it is not possible to include all of the social and the environmental implications of mining in the simple simulation, they must not be forgotten, and you should be prepared to discuss them in class. So, the materials that you'll need is a plot of land, which I'm going to show you where you get that, your mining tools, and that's ultimately it. So your mining tools are going to be your finger. So your mining tools is the ability to click, and the plots of land we're going to talk about in just a second, okay? And so just kind of a rule of thumb here. So each miner must obtain a purchase of land area on credit from the bank. Now you can buy one of the lots, you can buy two of the lots, or all three of the plots. Now it's totally up to you. Here's what I want you to do. I need you guys to go ahead and open up the Jamboard. Now don't start clicking around because you'll see why here in a second. Okay, so what this means right here, you have plot A. So there's this blue line that kind of separates plot A, plot B, and plot C. You can, based on your document, you can either buy the left plot, which is $1,800, the middle plot, which is $1,800, or the right plot, or you can buy all of the above. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to do. So each miner must purchase one of the following things. So on number 3, you guys got to decide right now, do you think that plot A is going to have material on it? Do you think plot B is going to have material, or plot C? So I'm going to give you just about 2 minutes. You're going to go to your virtual mining, and I want you guys to decide, am I only going to buy 1 plot, 2 plots, or 3 plots, and how many squares are in each of them? So you guys have 2 minutes at this time to go ahead and fill that in. So decide if you're going to buy plot A. What's that? So you guys, you say that again, Niall. So you right here, you just, so what's going to happen is at the end, we're going to, what's frozen? Oh, up here? Sorry. Okay. So what you're going to do is on here. So there is the Jamboard. And so you can buy plot A. That's your choice. You can buy plot B. That's your choice, or plot C. Now here's the thing. You don't have a limit. You don't have a limit, but you do need to make a profit. So do you guys, so this is just a random gamble at this point. We know that there's money in the hills, so to speak. But you got to decide, do I want to take the chance and buy everything? Do I just want to take the chance and buy 1 plot? Do I want to buy 2 plots? Do I want to buy 3 plots? What do I want to do? Okay, so you guys set your budget there. So at this time, decide, do you want plot A? Figure out how many squares are in plot A. Do you want to buy plot B? How many squares are in there? Plot C, how many are in there? And then add up your total squares. So I'll go ahead and give you guys another minute there. Okay, Emery asks a great question. So if we want 1 plot, do we not fill in the other 2? That is correct. So if you only want one of the plots, just tell me how many squares are in there, and then you would, the other spaces you would put in 0. I think so. All right, hey, virtual kids, thumbs up if you guys finished step 3. Thumbs down if you still need more time. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thanks, Michael. Okay. Okay, how about in-class kids? You guys need... So if you want, what plot did you decide? All of them? Huh? You want to plot B, so you count up how many squares are in plot B. You did that? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to start a timer, and what you're going to do, if you bought plot A, then what you do is you simply go through and you're like, okay, plot A, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it to the overburden. Okay? So click, add it to overburden. Click, add it to overburden. Here's the thing. You cannot overlap your overburden. Now, what I mean by that, so if I'm clicking one of these, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click one, I'm going to take it to my overburden, and I'm going to try and stack them, okay? Now, I said no overlap, but you're ultimately going to try and put as much as you can in that overburden, okay? So it's not showing. Yep. Well, you might have to. So this is the first time I'm doing the simulation. So let's go ahead and allow you guys to stack it right now, okay? But you don't want anything to, you don't want to see any brown right now.
Wait, miss, so put the squares in the little blue overburden box?
Yes, now they're going to hide behind that blue box. So you're going to put as many as you can in, and you do not want to, you can overlap them. I will allow that. You just want to keep clicking over and over and over until you get all of plot A.
Oh, okay, okay. So if you
now, that was another question. So another question that a kid had is about the trees. Okay, so if the trees, you click it and you go to timber harvest. Click the trees and they go under timber harvest. The other explanation is the gang or the spoils. If you see a diamond with a pink box around it, that means that it's unmineable. It's there, but we have not figured out a process to get that diamond out. So that means it doesn't count for your how much money you make. Okay? Now, if you get a diamond that does not have anything around it, you put it under ore. So an ore is what you are taking out to try and calculate how much you earned. Okay? Gang or spoils is anything that you just can't get that diamond out. It's there, but you just can't extract it. Kind of like what you would do if there was oil and it's there, but you can't extract it. Same process. Okay? Not yet. I haven't started yet. Not yet. Okay? So here's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start a timer. Okay, so good question. So here's the deal. If you decided to buy plot A, you only get to dig on plot A. If you did plot B, you only get to dig on plot B. If you did plot C, only plot C. If you did all 3 of them, I will have a running timer. When you complete it, you'll see the timer on the screen and note the times, how long it took you. So everyone's going to be a little bit different, okay? So let me get a timer. Or a stopwatch, I should say. Okay. Virtual kids, do you guys have any questions before we start?
So you're just putting the squares in the overburden box?
Yes, you're putting the squares in the overburden. The trees, if you need to remove them, you're going to grab the tree and put it under timber harvest.
Oh, okay, okay.
No.
Sorry.
No, those won't fit. No, you're good. So, okay, anyone else have questions?
Real quick, can we put as many squares as we want to, as long as they fit in the box?
Yes, you can. Now, remember, plot A, you only bought plot A, so you only can get those. Okay, now here's the next thing and the last final thing. Okay, you're going to try and dig out as many treasures as possible. The diamonds will be sold to the bank to offset your startup costs. However, if you find an arrowhead, it's a $400 fine because that is part of history. You can't sell that. The dinosaur, we're going to call it a fine right now. So if you find a dinosaur, that's going to cost you $300 because you didn't make any money on that. You have to sell it. What's that? So good question. So she just asked, where would you put like the diamonds or the arrowheads? Okay, that is going to be in the gang spoils because you can't do anything there. So you're kind of sorting. Tan squares go into overburden. Any diamond with the pink or a fossil or a arrowhead goes in the second box. Any diamond that is good, you put into ore, and any trees you drag to timber harvest. Does that make sense now? Okay, so I'm going to get my timer. If you bought all 3 plots, you're going to have to do that for all 3. So it's going to take you a lot longer. If you only did plot A, you only do plot A, and then what you're going to do is you guys are going to see at what time you can look at the screen, or my virtual kids flip back to the timer and see how long it took you to mine. Just a reminder, it costs per minute how much it takes to mine. So if you decided to do all 3 plots, you're going to have to pay the people to dig up 3 plots. Okay, so is everybody ready? All right, ready, go. So you were clicking and dragging right now.
No.
Don't go outside the box. Just a reminder, if you finish, you want to note the time that you stopped and put it into the document somewhere. What's that? Then you can still dig it. You can go in that other plot just a little bit. I had a question in the chat, I guess.
What if it's like half the dinosaur?
So it's half the dinosaur then.
There's a dinosaur like right between both lines.
That's what it sounds like. So if there's a dinosaur between both lines, take the dinosaur out and put it under spoils. So you still get fined because you found one.
It's just like
I know, but you found one. I know you found one, but you lost. No, you still lost. You still have to lose money because you found one.
So for these, what do I do with those?
So arrowheads, you found an arrowhead, so that goes under gang. Gang. Yep. And then, yep. So because it's technically on your plot, you have to, because it started. So great question. If the dinosaur is on half of your plot, that still means there's a dinosaur. You can't just have half a dinosaur. So that.
What if it's just the tail?
It's just a tail. That's super significant. You still got to get fined. You still have to, yeah, you don't make any money off it. You lose money. Okay, diamonds get you money. Yeah.
Miss,
Yeah.
where do you put like the dinosaurs at?
Dinosaurs go under spoils. The gang spoils.
Spoil?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, there's 2 times. Oh.
We get the dinosaur, we donate some money to a museum, call it as a tax write-off.
You could, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. There's arrowheads.
Do the diamonds go there too?
The diamonds that are normal looking go into ore. The diamonds with the pink box around them go into spoils.
Oh, okay.
It is so different.
Thank you.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I try to make. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so Emery, I'm trying to think. You have a black rock with a little red thing. What plot do you have, Emery?
I have C.
All right. Let's look at it. Yeah. Okay. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. Goodness. How many sneezes is that for? Is
It's
that
usually 4 to 5.
really?
5 if you get
Okay, is there anyone in here in class that's still digging? You guys good? Okay, how about my virtual kids? Just a shout out. How many kids are still digging? Well, I'll show you here in a sec. Virtual kids, are we done? Thumbs up. And Emery, I still got to answer your question, so I'll get there in a sec. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to exit out of this. All right. So here's the thing. The cost of an ongoing mining operation is $50 per minute. So what I want you guys to do, okay, so next to number 7, go ahead and here's the thing. If it's 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you have to round up. Meaning, like, if you have spent 4 minutes and a little change, then that means that you still have to pay that person for that 4+ minutes. Okay, so if you ended at 3:40, you still have to be charged for ultimately 4 minutes. 4 minutes, 10 seconds, so that still counts. So you still have to round that up to ultimately, if you went over the minute, you have to round it up. Yes. Okay. So on number 7, just a reminder, the cost of an ongoing mining operation is $50 per minute. So you should put how many minutes it took you to mine that. Is everybody good? Okay. Step 8. Now, after the land has been mined, reclamation must be attempted. I'm going to put a timer on. In 1 minute, you need to put all of the remains of the land back into place using the same method. So when it says using mining tools, it's just your finger or your mouse or whatever. Okay. If you do not put all of the plots back together, you will be charged $50 a square. Okay. So does anybody have any questions on that?
Squares, right? Like not any of the ores and stuff.
Okay, so all you're putting is the tan squares back. That's all you're putting back. Okay, yes, I was gonna.
Do we have to put them in order how they were?
No, but what I do want you guys to do is on here, go ahead and take that blue box, highlight it, and delete it. So that way you have your squares showing. So highlight the blue box and delete it so that way you can see how many squares you have. Is everybody ready? You guys have 1 minute. Ready? Go. Go. 1 minute. You have 1 minute. Get them as close as you can. 45 seconds left.
Oh my god.
30 seconds.
That's making me freak out. The tree.
Oh no, the tree. Now the tree, you don't put the trees back because you already harvested them. Don't put the trees back. Sorry.
I accidentally put the tree.
I should have clarified that. 15 seconds.
Miss, you can just use your finger on the touch screen.
Yeah.
They're so
And time. Okay, so
Oh my gosh, you're doing way better than
look at
mine.
this. This is so
I'm
funny.
actively ruining the environment.
I have like 30 squares.
That's so
Watch
funny.
you just fall down a bit.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so the fine for unsuccessful reclamation is $50 per square. All right, so the thing is that you need to go ahead and put that somewhere to kind of keep track of it. So how many squares did you not reclaim? So on number 9, put how many squares you did not reclaim. How many were left over? Okay. All right, so now when all the mining and reclamation is complete, we're ready to sell the treasures to the bank. But we have to ultimately do like an inventory of what happened. So on the mining information, your initial size in squares. So in this case, okay, the squares might have been off a little bit, so I'm not as worried about it. Okay, so just change it. Take the 36, the 36, and the 30 out there. Okay, so if you bought plot A, then you should put $1,800. If you bought plot B, that was $1,800. If you bought plot C, that's $1,500. So right there, you're just going to put what you purchased and then give me the total. So if you only bought one plot, that's pretty easy. So go ahead and do that for the first row. This one? Nothing yet. We're not there. I'll get there in just... Oh, data calculations, you would just simply put like 1,800. If you bought all 3, you would show me that you're adding all 3 together. Okay? So now, let's go to mining equipment costs. Now, if you guys... So let's say that you were using maybe 2 fingers to try and get as many as you could, or 1, or a mouse, or whatever. So numbers of fingers used, most kids only used 1. So what you're going to do is you would go 1 times 500, and then you're going to obviously, not 5,000, you're going to put that into your total equipment.
What?
So your equipment costs you $500. If you just use 1 finger, it's $500. But there might have been some kids that like were like, what, grab, turned it into like, and I didn't want to give any hints, but there could have been some people that put it into like iPad mode or whatever it is, like touch mode, and like using 2 fingers. Exactly. Okay, so there's that. So most of you guys just use 1 finger for it. All right, so then let's figure out the labor costs in minutes. Okay, so how many minutes did you spend mining? Remember, if you went over a minute, you got to round up. So if it was 4 minutes and 1 second, you still got to round up to 5 minutes. Okay, if your minute was 3 minutes and 27 seconds, you rounded up to 4. Okay, so round up to the nearest minute. Then you're going to take the minutes that you spent mining, multiply it by 50, and find your total cost of labor. Yes. Yep. So show me what you did there. So how many minutes? So if you did 4 minutes, I'm going to multiply that by $50. And then my total would be 200. Okay.
So if I did 2 minutes, I just multiply it by 50?
Yeah, 2 minutes and you multiply it by 50. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Okay. So reclamation costs. So the total relocated land. Okay, so here's the thing. So if you guys did all of square A, here's what I want you guys to do. Go down to the relocated squares and multiply that by 50. So if you had 5 squares left over and you couldn't put them in after I timed you for a minute, that's 5 reclaimed, like ones that you couldn't reclaim. So that's 5 times, and you have to, I'm charging you $50. because somebody else has to reclaim it for you. Okay. Or the environmental engineers are coming in and say, hey, you didn't reclaim that land. That's just a pile of dirt right now. So we're charging you. Okay. So you're just doing the relocated squares times 50 is going to be your reclamation cost. You are? That's totally fine. So we might, so dinosaurs, you might be able to sell those. I didn't know whether, I think we might, I'll put them on the black market. That's fine. Okay. So you might sell them to someone that has a grant to dig. We'll do it that way. Okay. So total mining cost. So here's what I want you to do. So add up the total amount of land, your equipment, the labor costs, and your reclamation. And give me your total mining cost over here. So that's your expenses, right? So that's how much it costs for you to just dig in general. Sure.
So when it says we get $500 per arrowhead, do we have to put $400 for each individual arrowhead?
They come in pairs, right? Or do they come?
No, there's 6 individuals.
Oh, so then you got to be charged 6 times for those. So Emery, for the land, all I wanted you to do is that the relocated squares, the ones that were left over, that's the only row that I want you to do. So if you were not able to, in that 1 minute, if you were not able to put all the squares back, whatever was not able to put back, take that number and multiply it by 50. That's reclamation cost. Okay? All right. So you should have your total mining cost at this point set. Now let's talk about your revenue. Okay, so how many diamonds did you collect? Multiply that by 1,000. We're gonna say that the dinosaur is not black market, but we'll say that you could sell that to a museum, but you only get $300 for every dinosaur. Now, the numbers of arrowheads removed. That's every single individual arrowhead. Okay, because that might have been part of indigenous culture that was like, you shouldn't have dug that up. So we're going to give you a fine for that. So the number of arrowheads removed, you multiply that by 400, okay, and subtract that from your overall cost there. Okay, so you should have diamonds. Let's say you found only 2 diamonds. So that puts me at 2,000. Okay, the dinosaurs, let's say that I found 2. That's 600. The numbers of arrowheads removed, unfortunately, maybe I found all 6. So I have to subtract $2,400. Okay, so that would bring my total revenue to be 200 if I was that person in that situation.
You made money.
Did everybody lose money? Maybe lost money.
My fingers are too slow.
So you lost it in reclamation, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now you take your total profit. So what you're going to do? Okay, and I have a question here. Let's see what they say. Land, like how many squares we had from the start? What's arrowhead? Okay, so Emery, so the land, like how many squares we had to start. Do not worry about that. I am worried about, on this row, the relocated squares. So when you took them off, you put them into this overburden. Okay? Oh, I keep clicking the tree. So you put them into overburden. Then I timed you for 1 minute for you to put them back. Whatever you have left over, that's what you need to put in this row right here. Okay, so relocated squares. So that means that if you did not reclaim some of them, you multiply that by 50. So if I had 5 squares because I could not bring them back down into the correct spot, that's how many I multiply by 50. Okay, and then the arrowheads, they looked like these little dudes right here. That's what we're talking about. So those were the arrowheads. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrowheads in there. I think that's what you were saying. There's like a little red box. Yeah. No, there's 6 arrowheads, so it's per arrowhead.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would have actually made a profit if I just had to do like a flat thing.
I got you. No, it's
But-
like
But
per
I
arrowhead.
understand it because it's individual stuff.
Exactly.
It's a localized product,
Okay.
it means that it might have been,
Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
like, separate.
So then,
Sis.
oh, go ahead. I had a question. Did someone say something?
I said, what about the diamonds with the pink boxes? Do we subtract that?
No, so the numbers of diamonds. Oh, and the spoils ones.
Yeah.
You did nothing. They were a wash. You didn't get anything. You didn't lose anything.
Said per arrowhead, so there's
6. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions on the revenue itself? Did anybody make any money? What'd you make, Zaida? So you spent 2,000. So subtract 6,000. So subtract your cost minus that. That'll give you your total profit. Okay. So one thing to take away from this. Okay. So people that are greedy typically want to take as much land as they can and try and find whatever they can, right? So this is an example of surface mining. So they were digging, trying to find diamonds. Now, obviously, I did not put this in a nice, pretty mountain or anything like that, but this was just the idea of, okay, how fast can we turn this around? How much land can we take? How easy is it to find it? There's going to be some speed bumps along the way. And how much were we able to actually make? So these are things that actually apply to mining in general. So now they have to find the land that would have the ore. They have to dig there. What's their mining costs? All of that. And then they have to reclaim it. And if it's not reclaimed, then the EPA comes in, is like, whoa, you did not reclaim this. You can take it out, but you've got to be ready to put it back in. So that's something to think about in mining in general when we talk about mining a little bit more tomorrow. Okay. So now you guys have a series of questions. So did you make a profit? Explain why you were or were not profitable. Were you able to restore the land? How does mining and reclamation impact plant, animal populations, as well as the water cycle and soil formation? Okay, so we're applying our soil that we learned earlier, okay? And also what happens when you take away trees. How would a mining company try to restore the land back to its original state after extraction of the ore was completed? Some people might say they put the dirt right back in. Some of them, they might sift through and add good dirt back. So that's something that I want you guys to think about. I'll give you more answers tomorrow on it. Okay, so I still want your opinion on what you think they should do. 5, can the landscape be restored to its original topography? Explain why or why not. So that means, is it still going to look the same? Okay, after you dug really deep in the ground, are you ever going to restore it to its more natural state? Would it be better to mine in a wilderness area than a developed area? State the pros and cons. Did you leave any treasures in the land? Why or why not? What changes in our mining technique would have resulted in more profit? How did your attitude change knowing your most important objective was to make a profit? Did it make you want to go faster or slower? And what kind of corners would you cut to make a profit? So what would you have done is like, maybe not said the arrowheads were here, or so cut corners. So what kind of shady stuff might have happened to turn a profit? So that is it for there. Did anybody have any questions on how to do the profit or loss margins? Is everybody good? Let me check in with my virtual kiddos. Thumbs up if you guys are good. Okay, Emery's good. Emery's good. Let's go. Haley, you good, kiddo? Yay. Okay, Cade, you good, or is your stomach still bothering you? Maybe Cade's with us. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop.